Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
A Brief History of the World is a board game by the Ragnar brothers. It is a shorter version of A History of the World, and it plays basically like you are trying to rebuild the history of the world, step by boring step. This is an antiquated game. There are going to be some of you who like these type of games, who like these older games of rolling dice and doing trivial things and the dice playing the game for you and you're making these decisions. I just feel like the board gaming world has come forward from this place, and you see games like this re-release, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it quicker and more playable and more enjoyable for you, the fans that used to love it. Here's the problem. A game like this is inevitably going to fail. Here's why. And this is what board game publishers don't understand. Is if I like the base game, then I like a long, random, luckfest, long, drawn out, boring, long board game with lots of dice. To make the game shorter version of the long, boring, forward-speaking game that's already been done better, but long and boring and drawn out and random with luck, then I'm probably going to stick with the older version. I don't know that I want a shorter version of a game I already have that isn't all that good or unique in its new placement. More to the point, there are games that do this civilization quicker than the quickie version here, better than the quicker version here, and with more interesting components than the quickie version here. There is nothing superior about this game to any game than the granddaddy, the father of this game, that's being made shorter. So I see what they're doing, and you can compare this game in the context of the time that it came out, and here's why it was thought to be a good idea. But I'm reviewing this game in 2019. I can only comment on this game compared to today and what options that we have. This is not where I would go with it. When you look at a game like Mega Sim, and it's bigger and it's bolder and it has better components and it's the same game pretty much as Civilization, Advanced Civilization, a few tweaks here and there, you're like, okay, I can see this game wasn't on the market, it's on the market now, and I get that was probably happening here, and my golly, the original game is way too long for what you're doing. This one still feels too long for the amount of luck that's in the game. You get that Civilization vibe in it, you get the feeling that you're rewriting the history of the world? Maybe. It's kind of weird how you jump from civilization to civilization. There was an app for this, and I would say the app, unless you have buddies who will sit down and play this, and you don't want to play maybe some better civilization games that are on the market, then this might be something you would go to. Highly, highly, highly advised if you want a rental. Remember how we used to rent movies from Blockbusters? You can do that sort of nowadays with apps. You can buy this game for $5. It's a weekend rental. Rent the app and see if you like it. And if you want more of that, you think having friends over and playing it will have more of an outcome where you'd want to keep playing it, and your buddies want to play this with you, the app will give you that first step or first introduction into it. I think it works fine on the app. It's a tutorial that teaches you the rules. I might even say, hey, look, if you're going to play this game, seriously, spend the extra $5 or less on the app, play through the tutorial, and that will really teach you the game. It's a really great tutorial, believe it or not. But for the base game itself, I feel like time has passed this game on. I feel like it's not going to have a part in your collection any longer unless it's for collection purposes. But if you're going to be playing this, I just see people having better options nowadays. So I'm not going to recommend A Brief History of the World. It's going to be a purge for me. And one I would tell you, if you're just jonesing to check it out, check out the app first. Here's Brief History of the World. We're going to look at the components. You can see the box. There are a lot of leaders from throughout history, and they're all rolling dice and playing board games. And it's actually kind of comical. So when you open the game up, you're going to have the board, which we'll show you in a second. You're going to have an event card deck that will come out, a little player aid that players will use each of the turns, a rule book, the actual player aids for each board, and they're double-sided. You're going to get a number of chits and tokens and stuff, and these are fine. The artwork on them is aged. If anything, the font is okay. These are rather generic little things you're going to get. You're going to get some regular 6-sided dice. There'll be 6 of those. You're going to get a number of these little plastic pieces that you will utilize as people on your board, and they're nice. They have like a little bust and They have different little people on them, and they're different colors, but they're extremely small. The card stock is fairly good. You're just going to get a lot of information. Not a lot here. A little bit thin, but you're not shuffling these up and using them too much in your hands. But you can see it's kind of generic. You are going to have this semi-custom insert where you could put the things in here. You have the heads, the dice, and the cards all kind of fit in there. It's probably a 7.5 for a custom insert. This is a little bit of an older game. The components are fun. These plastic heads, while small, and there are a lot of them, are nice, and the busts are different shapes, different faces on each one depending on the color. The dice are okay. Everything is okay. It's aged a little bit, but the components are actually fairly good for what you get. So here's the rule book for a brief history of the world. It's going to have the picture of the game. You're going to have the components all pictured in here. This is really nice, especially for the time period. Setting up is going to start down here. No actual picture of setup, which is a huge bummer. And already you're going to see a lack of pictures, just a lot of text here. It's a little hard to follow. The game is rather simple, but it is a little hard to follow. Finally, you do get some examples here at the end and a picture, kind of what's going on. A little too late for my taste. Then we go back to bland, just more and more text. And then we have the conclusion of the game, how to win. Some miscellaneous explanation of the cards. And then if you want to play two-player, which I do not recommend, there is a rule changes here that you can do that. No turn order on the back, just the credits for the game. The rule book is probably a 5 out of 10. It's okay. Thank goodness it's a simple enough game. So here's the board of the game. It's really, really big. On the outside of it, running around it, you're going to have the gold. And whoever has the most gold at the end of the game will win. I'm not going to teach you how to play this game. I'm going to show you a little bit about the flow, a little bit about how it works, so you can kind of know what to expect, but you will not learn how to play from this video. The game is going to play over 6 epics. You're going to have this player aid for each of the epics that will kind of show you which areas of the board will be utilized and which countries. This kind of gives you a little bit of an overview. There's only one for all of the players, so if you're playing a 4, 5, 6 player game, you're going to be sharing this, but this kind of gives you an overview of where everything is going to be. The gist of the game is going to be played over these card sets. So each epic, there's 6 of these in the game, that you'll be drafting these cards. So whoever's in last will draft a set of cards about which country you will be for the round or which civilization, while whoever's first in order will pick their weapons or what kind of advantage they want for the turn. And so that's kind of how they'll go. Once those cards are drafted, then you'll start the round. Whoever's turn it is will utilize this place by putting their Empire card here and putting how many people they have to go out, and they can utilize this for their modifiers. So know that this board exists. So each round, you're going to be playing a different country or civilization, in this case, Germany. And this will tell you where their people will be placed out, where their main city is, which seas you can put stuff out into, and a little bit of a power down here that will be utilized for the turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is establish my empire. In this case, in Germany, you touch right here, the Baltic seaboard, I would put an army out on the Baltic seaboard. And then I would put fleets on anything out here in the Atlantic and the Indian. I would go ahead and put that out on the board, and that would be considered establishing my empire. So I can take the rest of my armies that I have for the round based on the card that I was given, and I can place those in adjacent areas out on the board, and that will then be the part that will expand my empire. If I have any of those out on the board at the beginning of the epic, I can go ahead and utilize those and move those into locations that are adjacent, kind of expand out as it goes. If I'm expanding into an area that already has an army, 2 people would be there. Now we'd have to have a battle. The attacker would roll 2 dice. The defender would roll 1 dice. And you take whichever one is higher, plus any modifiers, and that would be the winner. In this case, the 4. If I had only rolled 1 dice, then the 3 would have won. At that point, you would earn a number of invasion points, equal to the difference between the 2 scores. So once again, let's say it was a 4-2 difference, I would earn 2 invasion points. If this had been 5-2, I would earn 3 invasion points. And it costs 1 invasion point to take a person out. So if I'm taking the black one out, that would require 1 of my invasion points. In this case, I had 3, leaving me 2 available. If I have any points left over, I can use Overrun to take advantage of other areas on the board. Now, I can also build these areas on the board by giving up armies. So say I wanted to get rid of one of my armies, I could get rid of that and build a fort onto the area. And different buildings are going to have different costs signified on the chit. In addition, you may have these event cards. In this case, in the 4th epic, if I had this card, I could receive 2 forts for free. Or migrants. Place 1 army in an unoccupied land in North America and another unoccupied land in southern Africa, a monument now be built. Resign these armies immediately. Black Death. Remove the armies from 3 lands adjacent to each other anywhere on the map. The lands have been occupied in capital city monument of 4. Just to kind of break the rule cards, these event cards that you can play on your turn. For the most part, for the flow of the game, what you're going to be doing is placing these guys out, moving into locations, and then attacking by rolling the dice. There's some other things going on, like the forts and fortifications that you can have, and those will help you tally up gold, which the most gold wins the game. You will get 2 gold for each capital you have, 1 gold for each city you control, and 1 gold for each monument. So getting those out of the board and then controlling those areas is very important. In conclusion, players will take turns drafting not only which area they're going to be or which civilization they're going to be for the turn, they'll be drafting these event cards. They'll be placing armies on the board, moving them, having fights, changing the course of history with events, and then next round getting another civilization and utilizing them to spread across the map. And that's a brief overview of what you'll be doing in Brief History of the World. Who should buy this game? I mean, I'm going to have to say probably older gamers. Gamers who are used to those really long Avalon Hill games, like a lot of luck. You're going to have to like some randomness in your games. This is going to have it. If you like the idea of building your civilization up and you want what this one has to offer, sure. But I think it's going to be a niche product here. I'm talking about a very small percentage of people. I feel like there are better civilization games on the market. I feel like I was choosing between this and Mega Civ. I'd probably go with Mega Civ or Civilization out of the older crowd ones. I feel like, what Civilization games are on the market now that are probably better? Maybe Civilization, the second one by FFG, not the first one and not the third one, but the second one. I like that one quite a bit. But this probably is not it. There are some good card games that are Civilization, but I don't think you're going to find it here. So Absolute Purge for me, one that I would say try the app before you buy. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.